Good morning, everyone. I am Katie Cartman, the Director of Religious Education here at Emerson Unitarian Universalist Church in Houston, Texas. Our beloved community of faith, reason, and affection welcomes all to grow in mind and spirit as together we build a better world. If you are joining us for the first time this morning, we extend a special welcome and invite you to fill out our online visitor card so you can receive more information about Emerson and our activities. Again, welcome to all. If you've been with us online for a while, things are looking a little different right now, as we're now live streaming to YouTube from the sanctuary. And we are all learning together. You may notice it took a little while for things to get started this morning because YouTube and the computer didn't want to talk to one another. I'm sure that has never happened in your existence. Today, our pulpit guest is the Reverend Dr. Anita Farber Robertson, who retired in August 2020 after 40 years of active ministry. Reverend Anita served congregations in New England as a settled minister and as an accredited interim minister, and also taught at Andover Newton Theological School as the adjunct professor of communications. Reverend Anita chaired the UUA's Racial and Cultural Diversity Task Force with Dr. Leon Spencer from 1992 to 97, and she's the author of 2 books, Learning While Leading, Increasing Your Effectiveness in Ministry for Clergy and Lay Leaders, and Called to Community, New Directions in Unitarian Universalist Ministry. Yes, those are both available in paperback and on Kindle. The mother of 2 and stepmother of 2, all adult children, grandmother of combined 8 children, she lives by the sea in Swampscott, Massachusetts, with her dog Tinker. While she is retired, she continues her consulting practice, Learning Edge Consulting, to clergy and congregations. Supporting worship today are me and our music director, Julia Morsher, choir section lead Ariel, with Sean on piano, and our Emersonians on the tech deck today are Linda, Lord, Elsbeth, and Jill. And we're joined by guest musicians, which we'll be having in the prelude in just a moment. Following the worship service, Reverend Anita will join us for social time on Zoom, a chance for you to gather in smaller groups to discuss the service and what's going on in your lives. We'll give that link at the end of today's service, and it's also in today's e-blast if you just want to click it when the time comes. And now, let's start with a little music.
Whoever you are, wherever you come from, wherever you find yourself on your life's journey, whichever your pronouns, whether you've walked in or rolled in or dialed in, whomever you love, you are welcome here.
What a joy to be with you this morning. What a
Please bear with us while we deal with some technical difficulties.
good morning. What a joy to be with you this morning. What a day is today. Miracle of miracles. From all our lives, we have gathered here in this virtual space to be together. From homes of peace and comfort, from homes of strife and struggle, from homes where hearts are filled with joy and where hearts have known deep sorrow. From places of wonder and of weariness, of bubbling hope and anxious worry, we have come to be here together in this time to remember, to celebrate, and to be renewed. Enter, rejoice, and come in.
Have I mentioned that our speaker is in Swampscott, Massachusetts? So we have some interesting technical stuff on this end. It's all go okay. Let's go ahead and join with thousands of UU congregations across the US and the world in lighting the chalice, the symbol of our common faith. Blessed is the match consumed in kindling flame. Blessed is the flame that burns in the heart's secret places. Blessed is the heart with strength to stop its beating for honor's sake. Blessed is the match consumed in kindling flame. And now, our opening hymn, Enter, Rejoice, and Come In.
Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Open your ears to the song. Open your ears to the song. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Open your hearts, everyone. Open your hearts, everyone. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Don't be afraid of some change. Don't be afraid of some change. Today
one of the best parts of my job, other than, getting to be with people of all ages, is sometimes a speaker says, "Can you find a story that would go well with my message?" And so I get to go to the library or go on the YouTube and preview 20 or 30 books and find things that are new to me. Today's story is Mr. Flux by Kyle McClure, illustrated by Matt Stevens. There once was a boy named Martin who didn't like change. Actually, it wasn't that he didn't like change, but more that he didn't know change. He lived with his family in a square house set in the middle of an unchanging street with a fixed number of trees, dogs, cats, and cars. It was a very nice and predictable place. That is, until a man named Mr. Flux arrived one afternoon out of nowhere in a noisy old van. Mr. Flux didn't just know change, he loved it. He walked around wearing a bowler hat and called himself an artist, even though he didn't make drawings or paintings or sculptures or anything remotely art-like. While others were busy making sure everything stayed the same, Mr. Flux enjoyed mixing things up. "That crazy artist," said Martin's dad. "What could he possibly be thinking?" said his mother. And so it went, with each day seeming to pass like every other day, until one morning when Martin was riding home on his old red bicycle, his new one being too new and scary to ride. That day, he took a sharp and unexpected turn when, right in the middle of his path, sat a large wooden box. He noticed "Property of Mr. Flux" printed on one side of the box, and since Martin was a good neighbor, he knew what he had to do. He set his bike to the side and carried the box to Mr. Flux's house and knocked 3 times. Almost instantly, the door flew open and there stood Mr. Flux in his bowler hat and pajamas. "My name is Martin," said Martin. "I found your box." Hello, Martin. "Look, my friend just sent me a bit of sky," he said, holding up a blue puzzle piece. "Did you know that I have a phone collection and a tuba filled with tennis balls?" asked Mr. Flux. "Don't you want it?" asked Martin, holding up the box. Mr. Flux looked at the box and shook his head. "No, you should probably keep it." "But what's in it?" "Why, it's full of change," said Mr. Flux. "Oh," said Martin. And he thanked Mr. Flux politely. He didn't want to open it. He suspected it contained cacophony, disorder, and germs. But he didn't want to get rid of it either. So Martin headed home with the large wooden box on his handlebars. What a commotion that caused. "Oh dear, what's next?" said one man. "Heavens to Murgatroyd," said another. Martin looked around at the crowd of worried and unhappy faces gazing over the hedges and knew what he had to do. He returned to Mr. Flux's house and knocked on the door. "You can have your box back. We don't like change around here." "Oh," said Mr. Flux, "and why is that?" "Well, because change is upsetting and we like things just the way they are." "I see, but Martin, everything changes. Look around you. A dewdrop, a bubble, a cloud. What stays the same?" "Well, I'm not talking about teensy-weensy changes," said Martin. "Right, well..." Mr. Flux took the box for Martin. "Can I offer you a jelly donut instead? Or perhaps a ride in my plane? Or shall we spin toy rabbits on my record player?" By the time Martin returned home that day, he had tried 6 new things. The next morning, Martin put on a shirt he had never worn before. At breakfast, he skipped the Crazy Crackle cereal and ate toast instead. When Martin's mother saw him, she had an idea to do the same. Martin had decided that little changes were okay, but not big changes like riding his new bicycle. Over the next few days, he visited Mr. Flux often. Sometimes Mr. Flux would talk about his ideas. Change is to keep us on our toes. Change is to make us look more closely. You can make change, or it can make you. What doesn't change are the arms you use to hug with. Those stay the same. Sometimes Martin would try to teach Mr. Flux how to make art the right way. Martin showed Mr. Flux that some artists made things that actually looked like something. And Mr. Flux showed Martin that other artists made things people didn't see as art, but that could still make you feel wonderful. And even though Martin was sometimes confused and Mr. Flux was sometimes puzzled, they both liked each other enough to give new things a go. As time passed, the neighbors began to notice Mr. Flux's influence on the street. A few houses magically changed color. One family awoke to find the mayor eating apples on a ladder in their front yard. Another discovered the local librarian tossing salad in their wading pool. Children began to wake up early, hoping to spot something new. The most surprising change was in people's thinking. Then one day, Martin woke up to a big change. Mr. Flux was moving away. Martin had grown used to Mr. Flux. What if he left and nothing ever changed again? The day Mr. Flux was to leave, his van broke down. Martin was secretly happy. But then he saw Mr. Flux's sad face and knew he had places to go. So while Mr. Flux tried to fix his van, Martin snuck off to fetch his beloved old bicycle. It was a bit small for Mr. Flux, but after a few adjustments, he was on his way. Just before he left, he gave Martin the wooden box. This time, Martin brought it home, where he finally opened it. Pesos and yen, francs and lira, there was change from all over the world. Martin read the note taped to the box and smiled. It said, "Sometimes change is big, and sometimes it's small. And sometimes change is just change, and that's fine too. Thank you for the art lessons." The end.
Giving out of what is our own is a transformative act. As a community of faith, we collect an offering, not for ourselves or our congregation, but to give to others as a collective action of our community and as a way to live out our shared values. Please give with a generous heart to support the October Share the Plate recipients. This month, 75% of the offering goes to the Houston Area Women's Center. Houston Area Women's Center provides safety and comprehensive, life-saving services to survivors of domestic and sexual violence, empowering individuals, families, and communities to transform trauma, achieve independence, and stop abuse before it happens. The Houston Area Women's Center believes in a future defined by safe relationships and caring families, when entire communities thrive free from violence. And as always, 25% of our offering will go to Interfaith Ministries Meals on Wheels, feeding Houston seniors. We have 3 ways to give. You can text the number on the screen, go to our webpage for online giving, or if you prefer to mail a check, yes, we are picking up mail at church.
I invite you to join me in the spirit of meditation and prayer. Find a comfortable position. And please, will you breathe with me? Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Keep breathing. Feel your breath move through your body. Feel it move into your chest, bringing life. Move through your body, out through your arms, into your fingers, down through your torso, your legs, into your feet and your toes, into the ground, up through your neck and your head, touching the sky. Your breath, the same breath that was breathed by the ancestors and that will be breathed by those who come after. In the breath, we are one, connected, living. In the breath, we hold love and care and tenderness. We remember those whose lives are hard, those for whom the struggles and the challenges feel overwhelming. We breathe strength and perseverance and hope. We breathe life and love out into the world, even as it has been breathed into us. We remember those who face uncertainty in a variety of ways and wish for them calm, groundedness, the way to look for the ways forward that often are hidden when we are too anxious to see. We would breathe healing to those who are sick and wrap our arms around those who feel lonely or abandoned. And we would breathe love to this community and to ourselves, that we might know the healing that comes when we trust that there is more love somewhere to hold us and heal us, always available. Let us count all the ways in which we have been given and been renewed and strengthened, that we might renew and give strength to others. Lisa Weens Heinzen writes, I have been selling peanuts at a little tourist stand my whole life with my back to the Grand Canyon, and until yesterday, never once had I turned around. Yesterday, someone passed me by with a mirror, and I split wide open, trembling with my eyes shut, almost afraid to see. I turned, dared to look, and before me was the ecstasy of light, of red rock, of immensity beyond imagination, right in my backyard. Ah, my heart cries, it sputters, it groans. All the years selling peanuts. What have I done? Dear God, where have I been? Abandoned, I have not waited even to tie my shoes. My peanuts lie, torn paper bags strewn on the ground, the cash register open, dollar bills flapping in the wind, all forgotten relics. I stumble around the vastness of this unimaginable beauty, my heart breaking at each new crevice, each new canyon wall of light and dust and rock and pinyon pine. Each sunset, the possibilities only beginning, a galaxy of rock and splendor to explore. Let my bones lie in some corner of this miracle, this mystery. I will die happy.